Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I'm your host, Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha. Welcome to, what's today? Wednesday. Hump Day. Ha 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 ha. Welcome to Wednesday's stream. Early edition. Sorry we're late. Had a thing. But we're going to jump back into the SD Buildoff build here, and we're going to jump back on this arm, continue detailing that. Yeah, we'll just rock it out. So, for those of you wondering what shirt I'm wearing today, because, haha, oh, gave it away. There it is, Titans, haha. So, if you guys want one of these cool-ass Titans shirts, hit up www.childofmecha.com, hit the store button up at the top. You will find this shirt, many more, hats, prints, all sorts of cool stuff in there. Go load up. I hear they make great stimulus money checks. Presents. It's Wednesday. Anyway. Whew. Yeah, it's Wednesday, guys. I am feeling it. So, with that being said, if you are interested in any of the tools and materials that we are going to be working with here today, there's an Amazon link just below here on Twitch and YouTube. That side, if you're watching on Facebook. I do get a bit of a commission based off the stuff that you buy, but it does not increase the cost for you. It goes to help me out, goes to help out the stream, and all of our endeavors that we're going to be jumping into real soon. That's going to be exciting. Aside from that, if you need kits, paints, accessories, tools, what have you, Mecha Decal Sheets 1 and 2, which are shipping right now, those are both in stock. Go hit up our good friends right down here. Adam and the fine folks at USA Gundam Store will definitely have what you need. Anyway, let's jump into it, man. Let's jump into it. Hey, Joe Belding's over there on Facebook. He says, "Yo, nice job on all the extra videos lately." Thanks, dude. My pleasure, man. My pleasure. All right, so let's go straight into it. Bang, right? A 2-minute intro. I think that's the quickest we've got into work. Let's go. All right. Let's get the eyes on here. Now, what we're going to be doing, we did this stuff here yesterday, and let's get you zoomed in so you can kind of get back in the swing of things here. Excuse me. So we did these types of little details right here and here. We're going to transition over to the front portion here, this little, this kind of cuff piece here, right? I want to do something right here, kind of snazzy, so we're going to jump into that. We're going to do that here first and foremost. Now, I went ahead and cut a little little piece of styrene sheet out of some 6.3 by 0.5 millimeter strip here. Now, we still need to kind of fine tune this, because obviously this is not a perfect shape right now, but it's fairly close, right? It's fairly close. It's getting there. So we need to, the angles are not even, and I think you guys can probably see that. But, you know, we'll fine tune this and get this kind of trimmed down to where we need it to be. And we'll set this thing on here, and we'll do some other cool stuff here for this, and detail this out. And I think you guys will be you know, pretty happy with what we'll show you here today. But first step is we got to get this this piece trimmed appropriately for the size of this shape here. Now, what I'm seeing is that this angle here is pretty much dead on, but the opposite side here is a little off. Alright, so what we need to do is we need to take a little bit off that side, right? Now, it angles in a little too much, so what we need to do is we need to take more off down here than up here, right? So what we're gonna do, let's get the good old chisel blade going here. the focus. Come on. There we go. The little chisel blade. This is good for just basically What happened to the damn chat? Come on! Freaking restream killed my chat log. Hang on, everybody. Let's get logged back in. I don't know why it kicked me out. There we go. Now we're back to normal. All right. So, like I said, this is good for just guillotining, bits of plastic off here. So we'll keep the angle straight there, but then we'll cut a little bit off at the bottom, right? And we just trimmed just a bit off, just nothing crazy, just a little hair, right? So let's see what that looks like here. I'm gonna grab the tweezers and kind of put that in there, right? And then let's see for angles what that looks like here. Better. That's much better, actually. I think that's almost dead on. So what we're gonna do, sand this side down, get that nice and flat there, right? And then, yeah, see, that looks much more even, those two angles on the sides. The top is nowhere near where we need it to be, but the two angles on the sides look pretty dang good. All right, so let's do this. Let's make a measurement here. We're looking at about 5.5 millimeters from top to bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the chopper, right? And let's get you zoomed out so you can kind of see the setup here. Just like that. And we'll put our 90-degree stop block right in there. We won't lock it down just yet. We need to kind of bring it back and comparing notes on the chat logs here, making sure everything is good. Let me refresh the chat just to be on the safe side. There we go. Now we're properly connected, I think. And there we go. All right, cool. Real quick, big shout out over there to the Mecha Army Facebook group. Yeah, Brandon, test. Thank you, buddy. Mr. Bill's over there, Ruslam. So yeah, so that's all flowing in properly now in the global chat. So yeah, no, we are good. Captain's log 417. Thank you, Lucas. Nice. But big shout out to the Mech Army Facebook group over there. Robert Cottrell, he's over there holding it down as usual. He says, "Hey Tim, watching your show from the pawn shop." What's going on, Robert? Thank you for watching, buddy. Appreciate that. Alex Andrews is also over there on the YouTube. He says, "It back?" It is. It's back. We're good. We are good. Anywho, I think I got an eyelash in my eye. Yep. Don't you hate it when that happens? There we go. Terry T, he's over there. He's got a question. This is a good question. I like this question. He says, Tim, after streaming every day for the past few weeks, do you find it helpful to keep your building pace more consistent? Not really. Surprisingly, right? But not really. And I think that is due to several different factors, right? Because number one, so my obviously my daily routine has changed drastically from when I was employed properly. So I'll get up probably at about, I don't know, anywhere between 9 and 10 in the morning. I know that seems late, but you'll hear the reason why in a few minutes. Get up, immediately go for my 2-mile walk, get that in, get that out of the way, come back, get showered, all that, clean up, and then basically just get to work, doing all this and prepping and stuff, and all the side kind of pieces that are into this, and obviously that's prepping for all the stuff that we're going to be doing, especially the videos, You know, the podcast, the Patreon, the book, everything, all of that combined. So that kind of takes up a lot of time, obviously. So you know, the big task here recently has been just cleaning the studio, and then finally the studio is clean. I actually vacuumed in here. There's literally no plastic on the floor. I could walk bare feet in here and not worry about my feet being impaled by, you know, plastic shards. So that's a huge step in the right direction, because obviously, you know, I want the videos to look good, right? I don't want in the background to make it look like a bomb went off in here, right? I want it to be aesthetically as meaningful and as good as the content within the videos, right? The whole package needs to be, you know, 100%, or it's just not good enough, at least in my opinion. So, you know, has been the big project here within the past several days. That's finally done. Now I can kind of move on to the next step of things, and that's actually recording. So I think that'll probably start happening tomorrow. With the short turnaround between today's stream and this evening's stream, there's not going to be a whole hell of a lot of time for much, you know, for much else, because I gotta eat sometime during the day, right? So yeah, the build time has not been as ample as one would think, right? So, and then after the stream, then you know, especially the nighttime stream after that, then, you know, I still work out here at home, so I got to get that in, and then I continue to work on things after that, and it's basically quiet time in the house, so I have to kind of be quiet as well. So no recording or anything like that. So that's usually when I make the thumbnails and I get them posted to YouTube and get all of the stream stuff started. And then honestly, I'm probably in bed by like 4 or 5 in the morning. Then turn right back around at 9 or 10 and do the same thing. So, no, I think it will start to ease as the things get going. But right now, it's just exponential ramp up right now for everything, for good reason. So, yeah. But good, very good question, Terry. Very good question. So, yeah. Anyway. Hey, there's George, Mr. Old School Gunplay. He says, finally able to watch again. What's going on, George? Airs 385. The chopper is out. Yeah. Pull out the chopper, right? Perfect time to come in. Exactly, right? Let's see. Persistent Turtle said, I would feel it would slow down so to show on YouTube's. Yeah. I mean, mind you, what I normally do is do like one side of something and then duplicate it off stream, because that's boring to see it done multiple times, right? So I could. There's an abundance of things that I have to duplicate at this point. You know, I still have to sand all of the legs down from when we applied the epoxy putty. I still have 3 sides that I have to kind of sand down and everything. The shoulder, you know, that we worked on, you know, last week and stuff like that. This side is all detailed, but this side is still bare. And then I have the other shoulder I got to do. So, yeah, all that, you know, kind of starts to build. Then I got to cut the grass too. Take out the garbage and do all the household stuff, right? So yeah, it adds up. It adds up. I feel like I'm working more now than when I was actually employed. But, not a big deal. Mr. William Williams, he's got a question. Okay. Here we go. He says, do you feel like you are at least keeping your juices flowing for your build, since you are working on 2 different kits instead of just one? I think so, yeah. I mean, it's definitely a different change of pace. There's no doubt about that. Sorry, I think I have like an eyelash in my eye. and it's been bothering me for the last few minutes. But anyway, yeah, you know, I think that being occupied with ramping all this stuff up has definitely been able to, you know, I've been able to kind of think about things and all that. So it has its plus and minuses. Let's put it that way. So Julionius, Mr. Julio 2, he's over there on YouTube. What's up, dude? Christian Covezzi's over there on Facebook. He says, I can see you after a long time thanks to the quarantine. I guess, right? Silver lining, right? Thank you, Christian. Appreciate that. Kyle H. Clueless Gunplay says, afternoon, peeps. What's going on, Kyle? Superset 5, he's over there on Twitch. He's got a question.
We have a question.
He wants to know, I'm thinking on moving my painting setup from outside into the basement. Since the only window in the basement doesn't open, do you think an air purifier next to my spray booth, I guess, will work? It better be a really, really, really good air purifier. Like, really good. And honestly, even just next to it, I don't think is going to be good enough. I hate to say it. Now, on the long shot, and trust me, this is a long shot. If you happen to have like an extra like dryer vent or something like that on the side of the house or whatever, see if you can tap into that. You know, maybe have a flexible pipe or something like that. Lead out from your spray booth to the outside, because that's what I have. And I think personally it works really, really well. But I don't think that an air purifier sitting next to the spray booth is going to be anywhere near enough, honestly. So, sorry, man. Julio says, hey, Ruslan, yeah, I'm actually home for work today, so I have an opportunity to stop by and see how everyone is hanging. Nice. What's up, Julio? Good stuff. Campo Uruguay, Mr. Javier says, open a hole in the basement window with a filter? Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's kind of, I would say that's probably worst case scenario at that point, though. Christian Covezzi, he's over there on Facebook, like we said earlier. He's got a question.
We have a question.
He says, last build was a Jesta for GBWC, now a Jesta for next GBWC. Why you love that kit a lot? Just because it's perfect, man. It's one of those kits that I don't mind building multiples of, right? Like you see the one dude from Japan, he makes nothing but Sinanju Steins, but he makes them into different other mobile suits and stuff like that. Honestly, I could work on the Jesta all the time. I could literally just build Jestas, and I'd probably be pretty happy with myself. It's just a joy to work on, because it's such a blank canvas, but yet such a well-engineered kit. I have zero complaints about that, and that's kind of why I like it. Plus, the Jesta that I'm working on now is essentially going to be a converted RX. So we're remixing and kind of melding the two aesthetics together, and I think it works really, really well as an RX base platform. So yeah, I love the Jesta. I really do. So, yeah. Julius Dembski, Mr. Sarge. What's going on, Sarge? He says, I wish I had a basement. Yeah, but you live in San Fran. Like, you got sun and fun out there for the most part, I guess, right? We need basements here in the East Coast, like, so we can cower from the winter. Let's see. Bill over there on YouTube, he says, also depends on the type of paint. Purifier is probably okay for regular acrylics. Maybe like water-based acrylics. I wouldn't say shoot Tamiya with that, because that's alcohol-based, but maybe. You still have to worry about the particles and stuff like that. getting into the air and all that good stuff. And you have to keep in mind that, for most people that have basements, your furnace and your forced air system is probably going to be somewhere in your basement. Pumping out air, paint particles into the air that might get into that may not necessarily be the best idea in the world, but it's at very least something to think about, right? So there's that. Let's see. CML says ground is too hard here. If a house has a basement, they spent some money, right? Yeah. Look, over here on the East Coast, it's mostly like clay and stuff like that, and dirt and all. So it's not too terrible, but still. George, Mr. Old School Gumpla says, anytime you atomize anything, even water-based acrylics, it ain't always good for your health. That's very, very true, right? Christian Covezi over there on Facebook, he says, by the way, I see people using a spray booth and submerging the exhaust filter in a bucket of water. The only problem are the fumes. Yeah. I honestly, I don't know if I would ever submerge an exhaust filter in water, because you're essentially clogging the lungs of your spray booth. I mean, yeah, that's catching the particles and everything, but it's clogging the suction of it, and honestly, it kind of defeats the purpose at that point. I mean, hell, if anything, like what I do, I don't even have filters in my spray booth. I have 3 bathroom style fans that move 70 CFM, cubic feet per minute. So that's like 210 cubic feet a minute, and my spray booth is 3 feet wide, 2 feet tall, 2 feet deep. So it's moving a whole lot of air through those 3 fans, right? And it's pumping it straight outdoors. So yeah, I don't even have a fan or a filter in mine. I used to, but the airflow just went into the toilet at that point. So I pulled the filter out, went filterless, and then it just sucks everything out and, out to the, exhausted outside. It works for me, right? Of course, I still wear a respirator and all that, but, even after that, you don't smell anything. You don't see any particles floating in the air, nothing, which is pretty nice. It's not, I'm not going to lie. It's pretty nice. Let's see. Persistent Turtle says, atomized paint particles are cures for, the big V that we're seeing. I don't want to say it because YouTube has a thing right now where they'll the stream or demonetize things, so I don't even want to say it. We'll just say the big V, right? Yeah. Bill, Mr. Ruslam says, I said that with what I thought was obvious caveats. Always wear a mask, curtain off your spray area from the rest of the area. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Kyle H says, along with the water bucket, you can make a filter-lined bucket to filter particles and not impact airflow as much. Yeah, I guess. Christian Covezi says, no, wait, the tube that exits the spray booth. Ah, okay, so I guess filter that. But still, it still is going to choke the spray booth, the airflow and everything. George, Mr. Old School Gumpla's got a question.
We have a question.
He says, do you have any problems with gumming up the fans? I noticed mine got nasty amount of accumulation without a filter. Well, see, my filter was always behind the fans anyways, right? Yeah, you're going to get paint particles and stuff like that build up on the fans, but you take the covers off and you take like a screwdriver or something like that, and you kind of bang on the fins and everything, and that stuff drops right off. I have a shop vac just underneath, and I can just vacuum all that stuff out all the loose stuff and everything. And it basically cleans it almost as good as new. Obviously, it's not going to be shiny or anything, but it gets it super, super clean. So I do that every maybe once or twice a year, and yeah, it's good to go. Like, these fans roar like it's a lion in here. It's crazy. So yeah, I've never had any sorts of issues with it affecting functioning. Let's put it that way. So, Christian Covesi says, if you can extend outside is better, but if you can't, water and mask. Well, yeah, I guess that's true. Kyle says, nature of an inline fan, sadly. Yeah. Gumpy Uruguay's had the same issues. It works for now, but I'll have to throw this portable spray booth and DIY one at some point. Dude, and that's the thing. DIY is probably going to be, honestly, probably one of the best ways to go. Because you can get so much more for your money if you have a little ingenuity and have a little experience with wiring and all that stuff. I built mine, God, 6 or 7. I don't even know when I built it, but I know it was over 5 or 6 years ago. The thing still roars, and it's been great. It's a huge space to work in. I got a light that I installed right in the top of it, so there's a huge amount of lights just shining down on everything. So I mean, if you can DIY it, definitely the way to go. Yeah. Persistent Turtle says, I'm using a shop vac to pull from paint booth. I mean, if it's moving CFM, why not, right? George says, bang cleaning, gotta try that, LOL. Yeah, I mean, hey, if it works, right? William Williams says, so does anyone have an opinion with having the vent on the roof over the back of the booth? As long as it's moving air. That's the big thing for a spray booth. I've seen spray booths that have that pull from the bottom, that pull from the back, and then pull from the top. And honestly, I think the most efficient one probably is going to be the one that pulls from the bottom, simply because of gravity. But aside from that, I mean, everything's atomized and in the air anyway, so as long as it's moving air, that's the key. As long as it's moving air. Lucas over there, Persistent Turtle says, so I can set it outside, lowers noise, and if it blows up, then no house fires. Yeah. And guys, let me just say one quick thing. There have been old wives' tales, like, since the dawn of DIY spray booths, where someone says, oh, I heard about, such and such a spray booth catching fire because of the particle, the flammable particles in paint, blah, blah, blah. I will say this now. I have never once, ever heard of any first-hand accounts of that happening. It's always, oh, I heard about this, or I heard so-and-so, heard so-and-so, and heard this and heard that. And it's like, I don't know, man. I don't think it's nearly as big of a problem as one would think, right? It's like quicksand growing up. You see it all over TV shows and everything, but when you become an adult, is quicksand an issue? Not really. Just saying. Bill, Mr. Ruslam says, portable spray booths are great for apartments, otherwise DIY makes more sense. Bingo. Gumpy Uruguay says, that's right, I live in an apartment, that's why I gotta use one of those DIYs. Yeah. Persistent Turtle says, if you have it pull from the top, maybe an issue of paint hitting the piece. Could be. Javier says, but if I can make one that I can store below my desk once I'm done, yeah, absolutely. Downdraft would be best. Yeah, the one where it pulls from the bottom. Bill says, same, I live in an apartment as well. Yeah, Hector Flores is over there on YouTube, says, finally got a chance to catch the live show. He's got a question. Okay, cool. So this one's for Hector.
We have a question.
I'm looking into buying an airbrush. What would you recommend for a beginner? The Iwata Neo, which, let's see. This guy right here. This is, focus. This is the Iwata Neo, right? It's a decent, solid little double action gravity feed airbrush. You know, you got your paint cup there. Everything's secured. You know, you have all of the makings of a higher end airbrush, but for a $50 price tag. It's actually really, really decent. I don't use that particular airbrush very often because I have an Iwata Eclipse, and that's my old standby. But I did buy that for kind of special, kind of offhand things where I need super, super low pressure and flow. So that Neo actually makes quite a lot of sense, you know, for those purposes. But for your daily airbrush, yeah, it works really well too, from what a lot of people say. Kyle H, I still use my Neo after 3 years. It's a no-brainer, right? So I mean, the Iwata Neo for a beginner, I think makes a lot of sense because you're going to get a super high-quality airbrush, basically for $50, like I said. And if you don't know where to find it, Amazon right now, just below here on YouTube, Hector, hit the link, and I've got it in my my Amazon page, and you'll be able to find that. Now, I also have a couple of the higher end ones, like the Iwata, like I said, like the Eclipse. Swear by that. But the Neo is, like I said, a great beginner airbrush. So, great question. And Gumbler, you're great. Iwata or Badger. Kyle says Iwata Neo is a great beginner airbrush. Yeah. Gumbler Uruguay Iwata, I think, is Eclipse. Yeah, the Eclipse is kind of their more, I guess, higher to mid range, right? Persistent Turtle Lucas says, sadly, quicksand is not an issue. Sadly? I don't know. But yeah, I would absolutely suggest Iwata. The cool thing about Iwata and Badger both, you can get parts for them both very, very easily. Very easily. And especially in the US. So, let's see. Charles Dobbs says, fumes causing fans to catch fire is possible, but 99.99999% of us aren't using enough alcohol/lacquer-based paint all at once to meet the particles PMM per million something to actually ignite from the fans and motors. Exactly. Like, you would have to be dumping so much into that fan for it to even have a chance of catching fire. Like, you'd have to be sitting there, like, you and 5 of your friends, like, double fisting, spraying, you know, lacquer-based spray paint directly into the fans themselves. It's not as big as a problem as one would think, honestly. Bill says you need money for compressor, hose, trap, airbrush, figure your funds, and then get best you can. Yeah, that's true as well. It's very true as well. There are accessories that you need, obviously, to run the airbrush, right? Eris385 says, what matters is not making painting booth fans and compressors too loud and pissing off your other half. Well, that is also an important thing to consider, right? George Lelios, Mr. Old School Gauntlet says, and you can upgrade it to a 0.5 needle and use for shotgun applications like top coating and stuff like that, priming and all that. Yeah, because this comes with a, what is this, it's either a 0.2 or a 0.3 millimeter needle. But then, yeah, like George says, you can buy the other needle and nozzle for this to widen that that flow port, you know, the tip at the end. And then you can kind of go hog on, you know, priming bigger pieces and stuff like that. Now, mind you, I shoot 0.5 normally in my Iwata Eclipse, so I kind of like the bigger spray area. But that's just me. Anyway, Hector says, thank you guys, going to get one. Another satisfied customer. All right, so back to work. All right, so we need 5.5. So we haven't locked down the stop block just yet. We need to measure out 5.5 mil. So we're at this point, we're going to measure right about there, get our stop block in place, lock that down, remove that, and now what we're going to do is we're going to put our piece right up against the stop block. Now we're not going to move it down toward the edge, because obviously it'll just angle out and that will not be good. Now what we are going to do is we're going to use our L square and bump that piece right up against the stop block and then chop off that top there, and then now we should have a perfectly parallel piece. Say that 3 times fast. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. That looks pretty good. So we'll dump that right there on the thingy, the table there, as I bump the screen. And then let's see what it looks like here on the piece itself. Let's see if we got this. Nice, pretty nice. Wonderful. Okay, so that looks good. Now, the thing that we need to do next is, obviously we're not going to fill up this entire area here. So we need to cut this these pieces down just a bit so that we can fit this here and then have a little border overhang on this, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take our little chisel blade here, and we're going to cut off, we're just basically going to eyeball this, and we're going to cut off about a, I don't know, maybe a 0.5 millimeter from all sides. Just like that. And let's see. There. Last but not least, we're going to cut the bottom here. Just like that. And there we go. All right. Nice. Let's see here real quick. Ranger Chris says, late to the show, what is going on? We are cutting a little piece to plate up this little cuff part for the unicorn. Airs385 has a question. He says, what masking model tape does everyone use? Have trouble with the Tamiya tape. Actually, I use the Tamiya tape, and I've never had an issue with it. So this stuff right here, right? Now, the main trick with the Tamiya, number one, is making sure that your surface is clean, right? Because if it's got dust on it or any other, you know, goo on it, then that stuff's not going to stick. Second part to that is you need to press that down really, really securely, right? So there's a couple tricks that I do. Where is it? Here we go. Let's see. I will use one of these bad boys here. These are silicone brushes, but let's see if this is the good one right here. All right. This is kind of a bigger one, but as you can see, it's kind of like almost like a chisel, and it's got a nice sharp tip there, and it's nice sharp edges, right? So, say if I had to, lay a mask here, right? And getting into the corner is a little difficult, right? So with this, you can really press that tape into that corner and just kind of really just basically brush that on and make sure that's nice and secure in there. And they make smaller ones here too, which also work very, very well. But that's kind of one thing that I do. Now another thing, if it's for kind of a harder to get area, I will press a little bit of poster tack into and on top of the tape, right? So what I'll do is I'll get start working this stuff and get it nice and warm, get it malleable and soft and everything like that, so that it's not just cold or whatever. And using this to press down the tape, right? So what I'll do is say we have that tape in there and it's hard to get there. We'll just press that right into it, pull that back, and obviously that forms right into the shape of that piece, presses down that tape nice and sturdy, and then you should be good to go after that. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. William Williams says, catch you later, Mech Army. William, take care, buddy. George says, okay, call me stupid. Never thought of using that chisel for that purpose. Learned something new today. Oh, yeah, dude. This makes a wonderful little guillotine. There you go. Let's see. Rusam says, masking or scribing? Oh, for the tape. Masking. Yeah. Masking. Yeah, Era says sticking issues. Yeah. Bill says, Tamiya is good. What is the actual problem you're having? Yeah, so here we go. Wash the parts before building, but having issues of it staying on, especially corners and odd angles. Yeah, no, I think that's with almost any tape, right? But again, proper cleanliness of the surface, and then really pressing it down into like the nooks and crannies around the corners and all that, I think will definitely get you into a lot better results, Eris. Yeah. And a lot of the guys are kind of echoing, what I just said. And then there's George. He says, well, there's another tip, silicone brush. Damn, I'm learning today. That's why we do this, Georgie. That's why we do this. Ranger Chris says, depending on the shape, you might also try a liquid mask painted on to get around the odd shapes. Yeah, liquid mask I've never been a huge fan of because it can, depending on the paint, especially if it's not very durable, it could rip that right up. And then it's only as accurate as your ability to brush it on. So I'm not a huge fan. But then, of course, I mask and airbrush literally everything. So maybe I'm just glutton for punishment. I don't know. Brandon says, as others have said, proper surface prep is also key. Use some rubbing alcohol to make sure it's grease-free. That's a great idea as well. Yeah. Yep. Cool. All right. So with that being said, let's check to see how our trimming did here on this piece. That's not parallel. That is not even close to parallel, the top and bottom there. That top is way, 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 way off parallel. Jeez. Let's try to fix that, shall we? Let's see. That looks a little bit better. Let's double check to see if it is parallel in our with our calipers here. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. That's not too bad. Let's sand the top, and then I think we should be in good shape. Just sand that flat. There we go. All right, so now this looks pretty good. Let me look at it, you know, in the tweezers and see. Angles look good. The top and bottom are now parallel again. Let's see how it looks on the piece. Yeah, see that I think is going to be really good because we got to basically half mil kind of border all the way around, and I think that's going to work nice. The key will be obviously placement, right? Yeah, I think that's going to look really, really good. Okay, cool. So the next thing that I want to do is to actually detail this, right? Now we could potentially just stop here, but we're not going to, right? What we are going to do is we're going to cut another millimeter off of this bottom here, and I will tell you why here momentarily. But first, let's get the 1, 2, 3 blocks in here. And we're going to use the edge of the 1, 2, 3 blocks as our stop for our scribing guide, right? And we're just going to get that locked right into place. And now we've got a good 1 millimeter right there. We can use our chisel blade and come in right at the edge. Just boom, right down on that. And then there you go. 1 millimeter right off the bottom, right? So this is now cut and trimmed to be proportionally placed at the top of this piece. It's basically going to be up here, right? So we've got a short bottom, essentially, right? Now, the reason why we're doing that is because we are going to build up a little detail block that is going to live kind of right down here at the bottom of this thing, right? It's going to basically look like kind of like that. And I know that's probably hard to see on camera, but it looks like you can see it a little bit. But we're going to build that up, cut that little space out, place that little block in there, and then it's going to look pretty good, I think. So this is 0.5 millimeter. We're going to build the detail block out of 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter strip here. So that looks like 0.75 to me. Let's double check. Ooh, let's calibrate the calipers first. Nope, that's 1 millimeter. Okay, cool. So we've got 1 millimeter, our 1 millimeter strip there. And let's see, how wide do we want this thing? Because we could end up using something wider. Yeah, see, I think 3 millimeter 3 millimeter wide is going to be definitely the way to go. Now, what is this one here? I think this is 1.5 by 0.75. That might work too. Yeah, okay. Cool. I think we're going to use this instead of the 1 millimeter because that's a nice wider cut there, right? I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to use that. All right. So, and then we're going to need our, where is it here? Just a little itty bitty piece right here. This, let's see. That's by 1. We don't need that. We need 0.5 mil wide. That's what we're looking for next. There's that. Let's see how wide this is. I think this is 1/4 by 1. Yeah, see, that's 1/4 by 1. So that's a little thicker than I wanted. So I think we're going to go with this right here. Yeah, that'll work. That will work. Now, could always make this out of 3.2 rather than glue these little pieces together, and I think that'll probably be easier at this point. So let's scrap that idea and just make this out of one solid piece of plastic, and then we can just scribe our line in the middle of it here. Yeah. So we're looking for 3.2 by 1. I think we've found it here. That's definitely 1 millimeter. That is 3.2. Bingo. So we found our strip right here, right? And now what essentially is going to happen is this strip will come up just a little bit, say about 1.5 millimeters, and then come down that extra 1 millimeter. So this is going to be 2.5 millimeter by 3.2. So that's essentially what we are going to be chopping here on our good old chopper, right? So we need to measure out by 2.5 millimeters here. Right there. Looks good. Get that locked in. Let's square up this edge just to be on the safe side, and then we'll chop our part. And here, ladies and gents, is our new little detail block right there. Now we got to get this worked down to the shape that we want it, right? Little glue schmutz on the back. Let's get that cleaned off. Good there. All right, so now we want the front and the back end to be beveled, right? A nice bevel. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our hobby knife and we're going to cut that bevel in. Now, obviously, be very, very careful with your digits. You don't want to be like me and Pabs, cutting ourselves on stream here. Now, yes, you could try and sand this. Yes, you could try and use a file. With this small of a piece, it will probably be more trouble than it's worth. I'm going to just be honest with you. Cutting the bevel in, probably going to be the easiest route. Alright, so let's see if you can see the cross section there. Yeah, so see how this side is nicely beveled now? That's essentially what we're going to be duplicating on the other side. But before we move on to that, we're going to scrape this side nice and even here. Just to flatten that out nicely. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing to the other side here. And for accuracy and safety, make it a couple passes. Don't try to take off everything at once. Yeah, but see, that looks pretty good. So, same thing on this side. We'll scrape it down. And we're going to take off the back edge just a little bit, just so we can have a nice even sizing from the piece that we're laying down first, right? So, and then for this part, we will try and use this file on just to get nice and straight and flat back there. And that looks pretty decent. And let's see if we can't maybe try to file the other side here too. I don't know if we're gonna have much luck, but let's give it a shot, shall we? Yeah, it worked a little bit. But anyway, there's our new detail block, and you can kind of see the cross section there, right? Kind of. So what we're going to do next, I'm going to set that right there to the side, and excuse me, we are going to find our dead center on this piece. Focus. There we go. We're going to find our dead center on this piece first, and then we can set a mark, and then that way we can space this thing properly. So the width of this piece, let's use the tweezers to find this, 5 millimeters exactly. So that makes things fairly simple, right? So we're going to lay this right here, and we're going to make a couple marks here. Yeah. Come on now. Work with me here, piece. Work with me. All right. So what I'm going to do is set that right on 2.5 on both sides, right? So on this mark, it's 1, 2.5. On the other side of the mark, it's 1, 2.5, right? So now we can mark there and there as our 2 millimeters, right? But then we want to extend that out a little bit here too. So we're going to get the piece. Try our best to line these up mark appropriately on this. Okay, so we've got our 2 vertical cuts in here. Now what we can do is we can come back in here with our 3 millimeter chisel and basically use this as our almost like our chisel blade. We're just guillotine this little piece out of here. Just like that. And now let's see if that fits. Ooh, buddy. There we go. There we go. That fits like a glove. You can kind of get the idea of where we're going with this. Let's get zoomed in. Let's get super zoomed in. And you can kind of see where we're, what direction we're heading in with this thing, right? Let's get that right there. And there we go. You can kind of see it there, right? Now, obviously, we need to even things up with this because the line, obviously, that we just cut is not straight. So we'll pull this guy out of here, and we'll use our 3 millimeter chisel one more time. And let's see, we'll go a little higher on this side. Cut it out there. And then what we also do, this side here is a bit thinner, it looks like. Yeah, it's a little bit thinner, so we'll just nibble off a tad of plastic, just a little bit, and then that evens out things pretty nicely right there without adding too much space for the piece. But then that piece will pop right in there, and then now that looks a whole lot better. Let's get that out over here. I know it's at the top of the screen for you guys, but in terms of contrast, it looks a lot better. So that's essentially what we're going for. Pretty good. Pretty good. We're not done yet. We're not done just yet. We need to do a few more things. So, like we said earlier, we need to do a little bit of work still on this detail block, right? What I'd ideally like is to... Where'd that file go? There it is. Oh no, that's not the one I wanted. Here we go. This is the file I wanted. Let's see if this will work. I don't know if it will, but let's give it a shot. Oh, looks like it might actually be getting a little tooth in there. Yeah. Okay. That'll work. All right. So now, next thing that we have to do is we need to find the dead center of this. For this, I'm just going to eyeball it first. Say right about there. Oop. Be good if it was on screen, wouldn't it? Oop. Right about there. That looks to be center, but we'll measure it out and we'll see, right? Yeah, that looks, let's see, that right there, because remember this is 3.2, not 3, so we need a little overhang on each side. That looks to be about as dead center as we can get, right? Not too bad. I'm actually pretty happy with that. So what we're going to do next is we're going to use our 0.3 millimeter chisel here, and we're going to go to work putting a scribe line into this thing. Now let's get out a super zoom here real quick so you guys can actually see what we're doing, right? Let's go, where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. All right. So, let me grab a drink here because I'm parched. Let's get this scribe line in here, and then we'll get caught up with the chat. Okay? Now, since this piece is so small, we are absolutely going to have to freehand this. There's no way I'm going to be able to tape this or anything like that. It's just not going to be feasible, and it's going to take a lot more time and a lot more effort than I really feel like putting into this. But keep in mind that this is not a competition entry either. Okay. Alex says, "Did you mute Alexa tonight, Tim?" Really? Yes, I did. Alexa? Oh shit, I didn't. Cancel. Now she's muted. Really. She's really muted. Alright, so get a nice faint line in there just to check center. That looks really good. then we just start eating away, just nibbling plastic away at this thing. Just like that. All right. So now we're going to do it on both of the other sides here too. And obviously, I probably don't have to tell you guys, but precision on this is absolutely crucial. So that's kind of why I'm being a little quiet here. So I'm trying to concentrate as best as I possibly can to make this these lines straight and centered. That's the big things, the centering of this all. Shit, I am on camera. Good. I was going to say, I may not even be on camera at this point. I'm not even paying attention to hand placement here. I'm more worried about scribing this line in. Alright, so we're looking pretty decent. Okay. Let's see. How's that look? Sweet. That is all centered. All right. So now we can really get to work and deepen these lines here. And for that, we're going to use traditional scribing methods here. We're just going to basically be pulling these lines. But again, you need to be still very, very careful because this is a super, super, super small piece. Trying to scribe this is it's difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. You just want to take your time and let the chisel do the work. But the end result, I think you guys will be pretty happy with. I think I'll be happy with it. Alright. I mean, this particular aesthetic, this little block here with the line through it, is one that I've used for many years, and it's one that is very popular amongst Japanese modelers, Asian modelers, and stuff too. So this is definitely one that you should add to your arsenal of detailing. Now, let's see. Oh yeah, see, that's gonna look super duper nice right there. Right on, you little bastard. Mind you, these are teeny tiny pieces. Just like that. And now, let's get this guy turned around for the camera. Just there. And then let's get you zoomed in so you can kind of see exactly what we did, right? Let's see. Boom, boom, and let's get our box. The box moved. Okay. There it is. She moved back. Zooming in. And there it is. Alright. That, ladies and germs, is essentially what we're looking for right there. Yeah. Yeah. That looks good. That looks really, really good. I'm very happy with that, actually. What do you guys think? Thoughts? Opinions? Yeah? Again, like I said, it's a common aesthetic that I've used for a pretty long time. So, yeah. Sorvan. Sorvan's over there on Twitch. He says, people that only work in 1/100. I don't like working with tiny pieces. I mean, it's the tiny pieces that actually sell the illusion, right? Just saying. So, all right. So let's get caught up with the chat, shall we? I feel like I'm low in the seat. Let me raise this up a bit here. Here we go. Ooh, that's a little too high now. Whoa. Hey. All right. Let's see. Where did we leave off here? God, you guys were doing a lot of talking, weren't you? Let's see. Okay. Here we go. Ranger Chris, he says, PSA time. Careful with thin CA, as it gets away from you, you can get a decent glob on you, and use accelerator. They make contact. It only burns like a son of a bitch and pulls up skin layers coming off. Yeah. It happens. Bill says, just leave the super glue alone. It will peel off in a few days real easy. True. Eris385 says, my molding issue with the basement is a pain, especially my closets have had mold develop on my model boxes before. Ooh. Maybe get a dehumidifier or something like that, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, and that's exactly what Bill said. Hey, look into a dehumidifier. There you go. Brendan says, just got a 24x18 black cutting mat in from Amazon. It was awesome. Best part is only $11.95 prime shipping. Sweet. Eris got a dehumidifier for the main living room down there. I guess I will look into getting one for each room. Wow. Yeah, so you could definitely have some moisture issues down there, it sounds like, Eris. Let's see. He says, both closets for each of my bedrooms have a damp rid container in each to help, but got all my multimedia downstairs along with modeling setup, tools, and models. Jeez. Alex Andrews says, don't drop it on the floor now, Tim. Yeah, that would be bad, right? Terry T says, it looks like it could be a heavy-duty hinge part. I really need to try that out. I need to try out that detail on my SD Zeta. Yeah, dude. Absolutely. Chuck over there on YouTube, he says, yeah, I can see this piece being a hinge for something. Impressive detail. Well, just wait until we place it, because then you'll kind of see what we were going for, right? Now, I do not want to use super glue with this, and I'll tell you why. Because super glue sets way too quickly for this, for something like this. We're going to have to use a solvent for this. Let's get out of super zoom, because we need a little bit more time than the super glue will allow for us to place this appropriately, right? So what we're going to be using is our boy Plastic Magic, the best solvent glue anywhere, right? And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to pull out these guys here. Look at this. I got these as a gift over in Dubai from Takeshi Sagawa, the other judge that was over there. Very, very nice guy. Wonderful at making dioramas, by the way. So if you want to follow somebody who's really, really good at something like that, go follow Takeshi, and he's absolutely amazing. I've been following him, and the dude travels all over Japan teaching the art and all of that. It's crazy. So, yeah, he's a good dude to follow. All right, so we've got our, these are pretty damn high quality little tweezers here that he got in Japan, and he gave these to me. It was nice enough. Pow Seed, I guess, is the name. Maybe look for that. Let's look for that on Amazon, shall we? Who knows if we're going to find it, but it's worth a shot, at least, right? It's worth a shot. I mean, I swear by these things. These are really, really high quality little tweezers. Or twizzers, as Julius says. Let's see what we've got here. Nope. No returns on POW seed. Oh, well. We tried, right? We tried. All right. Let's see. Speaking of Julius, Sarge says, Tim, I'm looking for some reference or ideas for scribing on the head of the RX-78 Origin. Can you recommend any sites for reference? Yeah. Sarge, look on look on my site, chowdamecha.com, because I've got the high-res pictures of the 1-to-1 scale RX-78 in there. So that'd probably be a good place to start. After that, you want to look up what is it? What are the books? Shoot. Oh God, I can't. I'm having a brain fart right now because I can't think of the books with all of the juicy line art in them. What are they called? Somebody help me with this. Because they've got the RX, they've got the Zeta, they got the GPO1s, they got the GMs, they've got Zaku's, all that. Oh God, what's it called? It's right there. God, what is it called? Master Archive. Fudabeoi, thank you. The Master Archives. Yes, Julius, look up Master Archive RX-78, and you should be able to find some really, really good, really, really good reference in there. So yeah, look for that. Master Archives. Yeah. So that would be probably one of the best place to look for that. Yeah. Era says for POW seed tools, look at Google Pics to find a Japanese page for the tools. Just came across a page for them. Nice. I'm sure they have similar things on Amazon. So. Anyway, let's get to placing this thing, shall we? I think we should. All right, so we are going to put our little block off right up here so we do not knock that thing out of existence. And then we're going to take our little tweezers here. Whoop. Actually, let me default back to these for this little piece. Let me default to these little grippers. Okay, and then get our plastic magic on there, eyes down, and then we will place this thing ever so carefully. Need to make sure that spacing and all of that is even on all sides of this thing, because we have very tight tolerances on this. Now, one thing that I like to do is I like to go around the piece with a little plastic magic. Just a little bit, not a ton, because that'll flow under any little nooks and crannies there. And you want to get most of it off the brush inside the bottle, right? You don't want a huge drop on there or anything like that. See, even that was too much. Alright, so there we go. So there's the first piece glued into place. Now, we actually are going to use our little high-end tweezers here. We're going to grab this guy. Whoop. See, that's the one thing about normal tweezers that I don't like. Is trying to transfer them from hand to hand, you know? Nice, nice, nice. Okay. And then the same thing, we're going to get most of this plastic magic off of this brush, and then we're just going to very lightly just kind of go right around the perimeter. And just kind of paint that on. Now, the thing about plastic magic is that it's so thin, and if you don't use a ton on your brush by doing this, there's going to be probably little to no surface texture or anything like that around the part. But we're not necessarily done with this part just yet. We're going to let this sit here just real quick while we get caught up with the chat and everything. Let's see. Era says, Latau website for Amazon JP page, search Powseed something ESD. There you go. Terry T says, you can also check out Vicky Drawing on Gundam Guy page. He's a Chinese artist that does a lot of Gundam pencil drawings, and it's a good reference for scribing and details. Yeah, Vicky Drawing's actually really good. Very, very talented. Brian, Mr. Bro Builder, says, I'm late to a very important... Who am I kidding? What up, Mecha Army? What's going on, Brian? Let's see. Brian says, Julius, let me know when those decals come through. Nice. Nice. Like I was saying, the glue around the perimeter of this thing isn't going to be a huge deal simply because it is so thin, and we're using so little that you're never going to see any sort of, weird surface, differences or anything like that, basically. So we should be good to go. Now, one of the last steps with this, because we're not done yet with this, kids. We're not done quite yet. We still need to do a little bit of chiseling, and for that we're going to get the 0.15, and we're going to go around the perimeter on this thing. Let's do a time check. 5:33. Cool, we got plenty of time. So we're going to go around the perimeter with the 0.15, and that's going to make it even look even more separated, right? Now, since we softened up the plastic with that with our plastic magic, we need to be a little careful. Number one, not to move the piece because it's still curing and everything, and then number two, to not let the chisel slip and mar the plastic, right? But we're going to go right around this thing, do our little perimeter scribe, and we're going to do a couple more little notches on this, and then we'll call this thing done. And Julius, another idea that you can check for scribing ideas, just look at like other models and stuff like that, like especially like Kotoki versions and things like that actually have you know, a lot of you know, a lot of panel lines and stuff like that. You can easily get design ideas from other other models and stuff like that, right? So I mean, you look at like the Zeta Plus, you look at the XS, you know, you look at some of the other ones out there, and you can kind of get design ideas, little motifs, you know, pick up little patterns and stuff like that. That will be very useful when it comes to, you know, scribing your own panel lines in your RX. Because that's what I like to do all the time. You know, look at people who do a really good job at you know, a panel line design. You know, your Josh Darras, your you know, your toy maker Kenny Lim, Choco Falcon, you know, Mr. David Liu, you know, all these guys that just do a really fine job at you know, panel line design and execution. Those are the guys who, you know, honestly I look to as well. Now, one thing that we're going to do with this block, our little detail block here, comes all the way down and it touches the panel break on these two angles here. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to extend the perimeter scribe all the way down on the front of this this side here, and that's going to help us kind of extend the detail as well. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. Let me get the second one scribed in. Yeah, see, that's going to look really good. All right, almost done with the front portion here. And then we'll just need to do a quick line at the bottom just to separate the part, or at least give it a look of separation, right? All right, so let me show you kind of what I mean by extending the panel lines down to the front here, okay? Let's get super zoomed in. And there we go. So you can kind of see how those lines are extended down the front of this piece here, right? So these, whoop, out of focus. So these panel lines that are basically perimeter scribed on this side of the block, they extend right down, and then there's a little bottom line there, right? So that all connects together. It all connects together, and then when we go to paint this, we can paint this block, and then also this little extension portion down here, we can paint that the same color, and it'll all look very cohesive, right? So that's the idea anyway. All right, so let's get out of super zoom. There we are. And let's see, just real quick, let's get caught up here. DT Warriors over there on YouTube. He says, "Up, Tim. Thanks for keeping me company while I work on my project." My pleasure, man. Eris385 says, Powseed kits run around $12 on Amazon JP. There's another kit with more tools for $15 as well. Nice, nice. Not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, I mean, they are just tweezers after all. All right. We're going to continue outline scribing this guy. We're getting to the close to the end of this particular exercise. Got just this kind of this last side here. The problem with scribing these teeny tiny sides and everything is that the debris caused by your chisel builds up tremendously fast, right? So you have to clear that out ever so often so you don't get that nasty ramping that we all hate, right? There we go. And then we can just connect these lines here. Just like that. Easy peasy. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Not too shabby. Now, one last thing that we are going to do to add to the illusion of separation, and I think my head was in the way, is that we're going to outline scribe the block here on our little detail piece. And what's going to happen is this is going to leave a consistent, consistent scribe on the outside of everything. So it, like I said, it gives that illusion of separation that we're chasing. And it's also going to make everything look nice, symmetrical, and even on all sides. Looking pretty good so far here. Now, with this plastic being as soft as it is, because we used solvent, US solvent-based glue, your chisel's basically just going to eat through this plastic really quickly, especially in these parts here. So make sure you're extra careful with your chisel here. Okay, so we're done with the 0.15 there. Now we're going to move over to the 0.3 because we need to clean out this middle section right here on our perimeter, and we need to clean up a little bit of the inside of this middle scribe on the detail block, simply because the solvent glue got in there just a little bit, which happens. So we just need to clean that out, even that up, and then we're gonna real quick switch back to the 0.15 here, just to make everything nice and even. We're just kind of, like I said, nibbling away at the plastic. We don't want to go too aggressive with the chisel, right? Because these are small pieces, and the glue still is drying. So we want to be careful. We don't want to dislodge anything at this point, because we've got our placement, you know, in really good shape. We want to be very, very gentle, very ginger with this, with these parts here. All right, so let's get a little toothbrush action in there just to help clear away some of the nastiness. Okay. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come back in here with the 0.3 and just kind of do something a little different here on the sides of this detail block here. I'm going to make these lines a little wider, and I think this will add a little variety to what we're doing here. We'll also extend these down. Just like that. There we go. Clear out the debris. Oh yeah, see that difference, that variation in panel line thickness is actually kind of a, it's one of those things where it can get really weird or it can just really work. And in this case, I think it just kind of really works. Yeah, I'm actually really happy with that. All right, I'll show you that here in just a second, you guys. Hang tight. Let me get the other side going here so you guys can see the kind of the full effect of what we're doing here. But trust me when I say this looks pretty dang good. Or don't trust me and just wait for the evidence. That's fine too. Yeah. We're liking that. We're liking that a lot. Now to get the down scribe there. Yeah, that looks nice. All right. Money. All right, so let's give you a progress shot of where we are here real quick, okay? Because we're not done yet. Wait, there's more. But let's get you super zoomed in so you can kind of see where we are at this point, right? Come on. Come on, box. There she is. All right. So there is kind of where we are at current, right? You can see, there it is. You can see the wider panel lines down here at the bottom, and then the all of the outline scribing creates those nice little shadows and everything in there, right? That just looks really good right there. Really good. Really, really, really good. Assholes. Excuse me. Bill says, Eris, you can find the same sets on US Amazon. They are professional ESD tweezer sets. He just sent the link to me. Sweet. So I will take a look at those and probably add those. Yeah. Let's see. Brian says, no stream for me tonight, Tuesday, Thursday. Tim is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah. Brian, our boy Brian, Mr. Bro Builder, is Tuesday and definitely Thursday nights. And then our boy Chris Pabs is Saturday nights. Let's see, who else? Armida, Miss Tex Marquise, is also Tuesday and Thursday. But it looks like she's taking the week off from at least what the tweets say. Yeah, don't forget George. He streams every morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., for those of you that are actually alive at that point. Not me. I'll probably watch the replays, but I can't get up at that early live. It ain't happening. Sorry, George. Terry T says, "Oh man, that detail looks so good." Thank you, Terry. I appreciate that, buddy. Mr. Bill Ruslam has a question. He says, where is the streaming schedule for everyone? Could you sticky it on the Mecha Army Facebook group? Yeah, we're still working on that, Bill. It's still very much a work in progress. At this point, we need to just kind of nail down a few little details, and then that will be published, and all that good stuff. So just hang in there. That's another one of the things that we're working on, right? Sarge Julius has a question.
We have a question.
He says, is there an Instaset type thing for solvent glue? Not that I know of, which doesn't mean that there's not. It's just I don't know of any. Now, Tamiya obviously makes the extra thin cement, right? And let's get out a super zoom here real quick, and then we'll finish up the little bits of scribing and everything that we were going to do, and then we'll finish, right? Tamiya obviously makes the extra thin, right? But they also make an extra thin quick type as well. And honestly, for me, it's too quick because it cures very, very quickly. But there's that. You may want to give a shot there, Julius. Just an idea. So, all right. So last couple things that we're going to do here with this thing is we're going to scribe some notches here just real quick with the .30, which we got right here. Now, before we move on, chisel discipline. And then we can do this. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to scribe in here just a couple little notches right here up at the top. And I'm just honestly, I'm just eyeballing the width and everything. It looks pretty good. And then these two notches will just basically set kind of everything off and kind of complete the look of this detail, right? Almost there. Let's just clean up that little bit there at the end. We're going to need our 0.15 actually to clear out that panel line. But there we go. Man, that looks good. Okay, so details are done. Let's get the piece back onto the arm, and then we can kind of see how everything fits together real nice, right? And we're even going to put the hand on here as well, so we can kind of see how this all comes together. All right, so let's go back to it here. Let's see. Hey, the channel, David. What's going on, buddy? Long time. He says, excuse me. You can use regular Tamiya extra thin, and then once you are good with the placement of the part, dab a little of the quick setting type to lock it into place. Interesting. So I guess maybe it does kind of work with solvent-based glue. I've never tried that before. That's good to know, right? That's awesome. All right, but let's get, there we go. And yes, I know I have to clean the nubs off the hands. Just, I know it. Don't anybody chastise me on that gigantic nub on the thumb, right? But that's not what we're here. That's not what we're here to look at, right? We're here to look at that pretty detail right there. And I'll get this focused here for you guys. Oop, other way. There she is. Look at that. You can see how those little notches there at the top just kind of set that off. Nice. Nubs, right? Shit. Clem and them would eat me alive for seeing that gigantic glacier of a nub right there, right? But still, there's that detail right there at the end. Man, that's going to look so nice painted up. And you can kind of see the profile of it, how that kind of sticks out real nice. And you can kind of see the notches there on the top of that piece. The wider panel lines there right next to the detail block and everything. Yeah, this looks good. I'm very happy with that. Very happy with that. So there we go. That, my friends, is right there. There we go. He says, what nub? Right? Thanks, DT Warrior. I appreciate the support. This gigantic nub right there. We shall name him Justin. Justin the Nub. And speaking of Justin, you guys, if you have the opportunity, Justin, my boy, Justinius Builds is about to go on here in about 2 minutes on his Twitch channel. So if you would kindly, and please, go give my boy some support. He's doing some cool things over there, right? Swing on by, tell him I said hi. It's a good thing to do because he's a good guy. I love Justin. He's my boy. But anywho, let's get out of this. Let's go back to camera one. Let's put a bow on this thing and call it a day, right? So, you guys, if you want to rock one of these Titans shirts, go hit up www.childofmecha.com. Hit the store button up at the top. You will find this shirt, many more. You will find hats, and you will find prints and stuff like that. So go get you some. Go get you some. If you are interested in any of the tools and materials that we worked with here today, please hit up the Amazon link just below here on Twitch and YouTube. That side, if you're watching on Facebook, tons of cool tools in there. Things for streaming if you want to get into that. Now's like the perfect time. A lot of people are getting into streaming, so there's a lot of good stuff in there, a lot of good gear and things. There's books for inspiration, and there's some other cool stuff in there as well, so go load up. It does go to help out me and help out all of our endeavors that we're going to be doing, so yeah, Go see what you can find in there. Maybe you'll find something really, really cool that you didn't know you wanted, right? So aside from that, if you are interested in kits or paints, accessories, Mecha Decals, which sheets 1 and 2 are coming out, or actually are out and shipping, go hit up our good friends right down here, USA Gundam Store. Adam and the fine crew will definitely have what you need. Now, just real quick, DT Word channel, it's Justinius Builds. Justinius Builds. Yeah, sorry if I neglected to mention that, but I figured most people would know who he is. I don't know. But yeah, Justinius Builds. That's our boy Justin. He's gonna go. He might even be live right now. So go check him out. Right. So with that being said, I'm gonna be back here in 4 hours, and we're gonna be working on the GBWC build for this year. I've got the I kind of took someone's advice. I forget who. From the night before last stream, and made a resin copy of the cross that we were working on for the shield. That way I don't run the risk of breaking it or melting it or anything like that. So the mold for that is cooking right now. It should be done around 9 p.m. And then I'll get some resin in there. That'll cure in about a half an hour. So hopefully it should be done by the stream tonight. Fingers crossed, right? So come on back for that. See me wreck this resin cross, and I don't know, maybe we'll mess up a shield or something like that. But until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Go watch Justin on Justinius Builds on Twitch, okay? Go check him out. Tell him I said hi. And come on back tonight for the stream. Until then, I will see you later. Take care, everybody. Make sure you wash your hands too, because you people are nasty with your Doritos and everything. It's just disgusting.